This is Jeff with Elevate Realty, and I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about inspections. This is one of those things I talk about every single weekend, several times a weekend, so I thought it would be a good idea to put it down in a little video that I could point people to, just in case you don't really understand part of it. You can go back and rewind it, and this is really from the perspective of a buyer who is about to put in an offer, but also this is part of the buyer's consultation meeting when I'm sitting down with the buyer and going over the process. So when you're putting in an offer in a competitive market, one way that buyers are making their offer stick out is they're taking on more risk. And the first thing that they're doing is waiving either the appraisal rider, which says that they're going to pay cash if it appraises less than what the contract price is. They're going to pay cash for the difference. And the next big contingency or benefit that they have in the contract is the inspection period. So the contract's written for the buyers, no question, because they have the most risk of they don't know anything about the house, for one thing, so they have the most risk involved, so the contract's written for them. The inspection in the state of Missouri, and I'm in the St. Louis area, the inspection paragraph is paragraph 10, and there's 3 parts to that paragraph. One part, the part 1, says that essentially we did inspections, we still like the house, and we want to continue with the contract, and then the inspection's resolved. The second part says we paid for inspections, we no longer like the house, we want to walk away from the contract. And as long as you keep those 2 parts intact, then that second part allows you to get out of the contract, get your earnest money back, and the seller goes back to market or back to the backup offer. So that's the key part, is that allows you to get out of the contract. Now, even though, let's put it this way, as long as you've paid for an inspection, you could show a receipt, that's how you get out of it. Most sellers are not going to ask you for a report. However, if they do, then you have to provide it to them. So the third part of the 10th paragraph of that describes inspections describes a situation where you've done an inspection and you have a few things that you found that you want the seller to fix or give you a credit for. This paragraph spells out exactly how that's going to be negotiated. First, by the number of days you have in order to perform the inspections. That starts the day after the acceptance deadline that you give the seller to respond to your offer. So that's an important date. In the contract, if you don't change it at all, it's 10 days. But you can write in however many days you want to have for inspections. If it's super competitive, you might offer fewer. That way, if you say 5 days for inspections, that way the seller knows sooner whether you're going to ask for any items or not. So that's one way to make it more appealing. If you leave it the way it is, it's 10 days. And then once you submit an inspection notice, once you've gotten your inspections done, you have a few things you want to fix, that's sent to the seller via an inspection notice. Once they receive that, you have 10 days to resolve those inspections. So that's a critical period. So up to 20 days after the acceptance deadline to resolve all of the inspection items. What buyers are doing in order to assume more risk and get their contract accepted in a case of a multiple contract or multiple offer situation is the buyer is waiving either the entire paragraph, saying we're not even going to worry, we're going to do inspections, or if we do, it's just for our information only. We're not going to exercise any part of this paragraph. We're striking the whole paragraph from the offer. The second thing that I've seen is people are striking the walkaway part 2. So they're saying either we're going to exercise part 1 where we're staying in after we do inspections, or we're going to exercise part 3 and negotiate items, but we're not going to walk away. There's nothing here that's going to make us walk away, is essentially what they're saying. The most common thing that I do is waive paragraph 3. And by doing that, you're saying this is a thumbs up or thumbs down purchase. So our inspection period, if we find enough items or some item that is a deal breaker, then we'll walk away, but we're not going to ask you to repair anything, and we're not going to ask for credits for anything. It's a little bit of a shell game, and here's why. If you waive that part of the paragraph, or that part of paragraph 10, and then you find something big. Let's say it's out in the country and your septic system's bad. This has happened. Then you're obviously, the seller is going to come back to you and say, well, I'll fix it if you guys want to stay under contract. So then you're all of a sudden, you've added that third part back in. So we know that that happens, and we know that that can be just a little bit of a game that people are playing. But the spirit of it is to let the seller know that, hey, we're not going to ask for ticky-tacky things that aren't important to us. So that's how inspections work, and that's how they are used as part of the strategy to get your offer accepted. A fourth thing, just while we're talking about inspections, the two types of contracts that you have are standard residential sales contract that offers all the protections to the buyer. And then there's also a special sales contract. And I mention this only because this is what you're going to use if you're not going to ask the seller to do anything. So if you're going to, like, for example, when we were buying rehabs, that's the contract we would use. They don't have to get municipal inspections. They don't have to go through an inspection period. So a special sales contract doesn't allow for that. You can add an inspection rider to the special sales contract, but that in effect just puts the same paragraph back into it that was taken out. It just eliminates the government inspections and insurability. So that's how inspections are used in the offer process, and that's how buyers are getting their offers to be a little bit more competitive. Just one of the terms along with price that makes your offer more competitive. So again, Jeff at Elevate Realty, and any other questions, feel free to reach out to me.